Welcome everyone to the Firestone Champ Car Challenger Series. We arrive back to the United States after spending time in Australia, and we arrive for the first oval race of the season. We're in Phoenix Raceway here in Goodyear, Arizona, just south of the Phoenix metro area, for 225 miles, 225 laps around this redone and high-speed 1 mile oval. 32 cars set to do battle here this afternoon. We get to see it all here on ABN Sports 1. What a conversation it has been getting up to speed for the Challenger Series season. It has been a wild turn of events, getting from point A to point B. To kick things off here, Adelaide at Bunnings Trade Motorsports Park. It was Isabel Lantra who was at the front of the field, race winner last time out in Adelaide. It's a long climb up the ladder if Lantra wants to try to go back-to-back to kick off the season. Felicia Zappa, former Champ Car World Series driver who made a couple stars last season, takes her first pole in Champ Car competition, leading the field to green here in Phoenix. And what a surprise that was for Swift Autosport. Karina Sakurauchi for Verizon Team Impulse sits on the front row alongside. It's the 50 and the 12 that'll lead the field to green. Roberto Crown Jr. and Rika Venäläinen will make up row number 2. Venäläinen up near the front alongside the former NAMRA Cup Series race winner and Crown, who leads the Black Rose Racing Brigade. Jace Clark for Crystal Cove Racing sits alongside Maria Chavez. Arashi Seto sits alongside the second Swift Autosport car. Seth Smith, Nero Takarasi, and Dale Blanco round out the top 10. Both Crystal Cove cars top 10. We got a Team Soccer car in the top 10 there with Arashi Seto, the 52. One of the Agia cars are up there as well. Both Swift Autosport cars in the top 10 there. Isabel Espinosa just outside the top 10 alongside the Canadian Kira Moore. Then it's Jace Clark, the second Black Rose Racing car, alongside the highest placed Arrowhead Racing machine of Rachel Koivanami. Rex Riley leads the way for Fortune Racing in row 8 alongside Asada Kito. Then you have Luisa Floros and Mia Vitsu. Valerie Fang and Yumina Mizuno make up row 10. They sit just inside the top 20. Just outside of it is Katrina Ochoa and Aspasia Megalos. Maria Damata, former Champ Car World Series race winner, sits in row 12 on the inside of Isabel Lantra. Lantra starting this race from 24th on the grid. As we mentioned, a long climb forward if you're going to try to make a race win happen here in the desert of Phoenix, Arizona. Natalia Kurachenko and Karina Amara sit in row 13. Row 14 is Sonia Walker and Sora Hoshino. Row 15, inside the top 30, just barely, is Yuya Ishii and Amity Polsatrix. And then Katerina Milinkovic and Keisha Fox make up the field here this evening. For Milinkovic, a bit of a double whammy. Qualified in the mid-20s, suffering a 10-place grid penalty for the engine failure in Adelaide 2 weeks ago. Now starting in 31st, alongside Keisha Fox in the very last row. This is going to be a wild race. We've not been to Phoenix in its current configuration. Last time we were here was 2019. The track has been reprofiled. Gone is the grass covering the dog leg in turn 1 and going through the tri-oval after turns 1 and 2. The tri-oval in the dog leg is now the front straightaway. That's the start finish line. So what was turns 1 and 2 alongside pit lanes now turns 3 and 4. Drivers will head into turns 1 and 2, which is very flat, very reprofiled. Repaved, though. Going to be a lot fresher pavement than what we were last time we were here. A lot faster is what we've seen as well. We're going to see how fast these drivers can get up to speed, though. 32 of them going to be put on track all together behind the Ford Raptor pace car. Before we get to find out who's the strongest here in the desert, we'll send it trackside for the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
Showtime set to be upon us as we get started here in Phoenix Raceway, race 2 of 20 in the Firestone Champ Car Challenger Series, the battle for the IndyCar national title. Again, Felicia Zappa, first career pole in Champ Car competition alongside Karina Sakurauchi. Pace car takes the entrance down the back straightaway. Remember how different this track is now compared to what it used to be. It'll be en masse as the field takes to start at the green flag here. Let's see who comes out the strongest here. Round turns 3 and 4 through the restart zone. And away we go. Green flag in the air. We're racing here at Phoenix. Showtime in the desert. Takarasi looked to the inside lane, straddling the yellow line, could not find any inroads. It is the 50 of Felicia Zappa leading the way so far. Lap 1 complete. And it's a rapid onset here. Sakurauchi got clear for second. Stayed stable and stayed clear. Outside lane prevailed there in the second row. That is Rika Van Alinen ahead of Roberto Crown Jr. Roberto Crown Jr. actually dropped down all the way to 6th. That is, I believe that is Maria Chavez and Seth Smith Jr., who is now 3 wide with one of the Crystal Cove cars. I believe that's Jake Carter. It is Carter, because Blanco is just behind. Inside lane, not prevailing so far in the early going. Arashi Seta now in the outside lane, being passed by Blanco. Blanco gets clear. Zappa leads early over Sakurauchi. But opening laps without a hitch. And now it's time to see the pace that is put on Felicia Zappa. Fast lap 19.342. That is an average lap speed of 194.5. For a 1 mile oval, that is rapid. That's one thing that'll be seen a lot here. How do the Firestone tires handle the increased loads here at Phoenix? Obviously fresh tarmac, relatively speaking. 3 years old is the blacktop here at Phoenix Raceway. The asphalt they laid down when they did the reconfiguration in 2021. Firestone did not have a lot of data coming from Phoenix Raceway, especially the Phoenix so old, not the same. And you're seeing that Seth Smith Jr. right now in the top 5 for car 5. Crown has stopped the bleeding, sitting in 6th ahead of Carter and Blanco. Side by side, Seto and Takarasi, the former Indianapolis 500 champion, trying to make inroads there, battling for 9th is what these two are doing right now. And then you see the 61 of Rachel Koivanemi, the Finnish driver for Arrowhead Racing, sitting in 11th, not far behind. And I believe that is the 26 it is, of Isabel Espinoza. Also in the mix, just ahead of Kira Moore, so both the Frostfire cars in range of each other. Here comes Takarasi under attack by Koivanemi. Went to the outside lane, seeing how effective it was for Seto. Moore, meanwhile, on the inside lane, trying to make it 3 wide. Koivanemi stays clear of Espinoza. Here comes Asada Kito. Very interesting situation for Asada Kito. That 22 car will be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in May. It will not be with Kito in it. Verizon Team Impulse announced that it would be Jamie Marie Jardine, former 2-time world champion, coming out of retirement to take one more crack at the Brickyard. What a powerhouse team that's going to be. Sakurauchi will be in the 12 for the Brickyard, for the 500. Kito will not. Kito, according to reports, opted out of running in the World Series under any capacity this year. Focusing on getting the national title. Right now, sitting outside the top 10 in 14th position, Koivu at 11th, now attacking Takarasi. Takarasi's lost touch completely with Arashi Seto. The 52, the leading Team Impulse, or Team Sakura car, excuse me, in the fray. The only one in the top 10, the only one really close to the top 10. Hoshino down in the 26th position. Very far and away right now. Mizuno in 15th. Struggling right now to get around Kito and struggling with Miyavitsu in tow. On your screen, battle for second place, raging forward here. 3 different teams all battling, and there goes Venäläinen. What a power surge by the Obsidian driver. Venäläinen, first oval start, powered through on the inside of Sakurashi for second place. That was an absolute power move by Venäläinen, who came into the weekend excited for her first oval start. Didn't know what to expect going here into Phoenix. I'd say that she has grappled with that change very nicely. Seth Smith Jr. now trying to take on Maria Chavez there for the top 4 spot. Felicia Zappa has checked out at the moment, and you can see why with the battling for second and now for 6th, just behind there, because there is Roberto Crown Jr. holding off both the Crystal Cove machines near the front of the field. Laps ticking away rapidly. We're already on lap 19 of 225. And these are, again, rapid lap times, 19.3 second lap times, 19.5 last time around for the race leader. So they've dropped off about a couple tenths, and you're going to see that drop off be significant, especially on the left side tires, the amount of load going into them. In and of itself, significant. Right now, watching this battle, Crown right back to the tail end of this group. Again, sitting in 6th, just outside the top 5, as Seth Smith Jr. tries to make an attack once again on Chavez. Through turns 1 and 2, inside lane, not prevailing there. Prevailed very well in turns 3 and 4. That's where Venäläinen made her pass for the second spot. And it worked out a treat. Looking a little further back, there's the Crystal Cove cars. That is Blanco ahead of Carter now. And you're seeing how Blanco got it from the outside lane there in 1 and 2. Over Carter. Both of them rookies, but Carter with a little bit more experience with the car. Blanco drove in the Atlantic Championship. Carter spent 2 seasons as part of the Impulse Academy, driving alongside the senior Team Impulse drivers before jumping to Crystal Cove to race full-time in something. Seto in 9th ahead of Takarasi still. They are still holding firm and holding station. Takarasi, a really good run out of 1 and 2, but picked the inside lane. This may not be effective again, and it will not be. Progressive banking in turns 1 and 2, something that was not present in 2019, makes that outside lane of 1 and 2 a lot more viable. Turns 1 and 2 have progressive banking. Turns 3 and 4 don't. Turns 3 and 4 is naturally just more banked and steeper, but it's not progressively banked. It doesn't have a gradual ramp up. What the progressive banking means, that means that as you go up the corner in 1 and 2, there's more banking to it. The inside of the racing line, where the closest to the yellow line is flatter. Only 4 degrees of banking across the yellow line. Closer to 11, 12 degrees of banking up near the wall. The outside lane, progressively, is where you want to be. However, you're seeing where the rubber and groove is. You don't want to step too far out of that line. And that's where you're seeing the balance, the delicate charge in turns 1 and 2. People trying to make it work, and unfortunately, the dirty air and the turbulence not quite working to the degree that they want it to. Meanwhile, you saw Sakurachi once again get back around. No, hold on, that was defending from Chavez, excuse me. Chavez had briefly taken 3rd place away. Sakurachi wasted no time getting it back. There is Venäläinen, who has checked out and gotten clear of that battle for 3rd. Trying to reel in the race leader for Lisa Zappa. Anyone that's followed American Open Wheel Racing for an extended period of time knows that this is not an insignificant fight at the front of the field that's beginning to surge as Venäläinen closes in. Felicia Zappa, her older sister Kaylee, ended up being the driver replacing Rika's late sister, Henna Venäläinen. Sakura Shibashi filled in to that car in 2016 before moving to Impulse. That car that once had Henna Venäläinen in it became Felicia Zappa's for years. Sorry, it became Kaylee Zappa's for years. Felicia Zappa now on her own path. Rika Venäläinen on her own path. Very soon their paths are crossing immediately here in the Challenger Series. Zappa has responded in kind to Venäläinen's attempts to close the gap. It was down to 1.4, came back to 1.5, now at 1.7. Zappa has responded indefinitely here. There is Keisha Fox challenging right now with the 36, Sonia Walker, who's not had a great time here at Phoenix, getting up to speed. This is a track she was successful at. Won here at Phoenix in the NAMRA Cup Series, but struggling. Sitting right off 31st. Milinkovic has gained a spot up to 30th. We got 35 laps in out of 225, and it has again been a breakneck pace. Lap times have dropped off a little bit. Felicia Zappa just dropped down into the 22nd marker for the first time. So already almost a second slower. 35 laps in, make that 36 laps completed. From 195 to 186 is the difference. You see Venäläinen's burn up her stuff a little bit because she is falling backwards now to the grips of Sakurachi and company. Outside lane, still prevailing for Seth Smith Jr., defending nicely from Roberto Crown Jr. Crown, another veteran here at Phoenix Raceway in stock car racing, trying to fight his way back into the top 5 position, sitting 6th. And doing a great job so far of it. He has handled this change nicely, this change of scenery. Teammates about to duke it out here through 1 and 2 as Crown goes after Seth Smith Jr. in 3 and 1 and 2 as well. And Crown didn't lose that much time. It's on the exit where you need to be able to exit out and get near the wall. Crown couldn't do that. So Seth Smith Jr. had the advantage in making magic work. Here we go. Down the inside lane once again is Carter on Blanco. And dirty air from 2 different directions there for Carter. Negates that attempt, and now under pressure from Arashi Seto. Again, everyone trying to time passes on the wrong side of the racetrack. We've seen how effective it was in turns 3 and 4. Everyone needs to try to make those runs happen to give them a chance in 3 and 4. See just outside the top 10 in 13th, Kira Moore. Right now just ahead of Yumina Mizuno. Then there's Mia Vitsut. There's Asada Kito still sitting in the 16th position. Vitsut, the Estonian, has gone back around. Then you have Jace Clark, 17th position. Katrina Ochoa just behind in 18th position. 19th belongs to Rex Riley. And then 20th, Luisa Floros for Face Poria Racing. Then you have Aspasia Megalos and Isabel Lontra just outside the top 20. Valerie Fang, 23rd. Kurachenko in 24th. Amara, 25th. Sora Hoshino in 26th. Then it's Yuya Ishii, Amity Polsatrix, Katarina Malenkovic, who has made another pass in the back of the field around the 8 of Miranda Mata. Sonia Walker in 31st still, and Keisha Fox sitting still in 32nd where she started. The interesting thing about this is that right now, Keisha Fox is a 10th faster than Felicia Zappa. That is last ahead of first on the speed traps, which we don't see very often. But we are in that stage of the race where some of the power hitters have begun to experience that fall off on the Firestone tires. Or it could be pace management. And it looks like that's exactly what it could be, with the understanding that these are 19-second lap times and Keisha Fox is 12 seconds behind, 8 seconds ahead. We are beginning to rapidly approach the point of dirty air for the leaders. And now Felicia Zappa trying to manage the pace at the front of the field. Venäläinen's closed down to less than 0.5 of a second. There you see the Finnish driver, the number 87, right there in tow. Working to make some inroads and try to go after the lead of the race. Felicia Zappa has led all 48 laps completed so far as we come to start lap 50. Sakurachi closing in just a little bit from 1.8 to 1.7. Down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. And around we go. 50 laps in the books out of 225, 175 laps remaining. And now Felicia's turned on the jets once again. Again, managing a gap not only to Venäläinen, but to the lap traffic that could be standing ahead, with Fox only 8 seconds up the road. But the pace drop-off has been significant, losing 10 miles an hour of pace alone over the first 50 laps, over a second out of the sails. Zappa has the fastest lap. That will not be disputed until we get through the first round of pit stops, which are going to be pretty far away. This should be a pretty easy 2 pit stop race. Primary Firestone tire brought to this track for obvious reasons. The amount of G-forces, the amount of weight load on those left side tires, extremely hard to predict, having not been here in 5 years. A lot has changed. And what's going to be very intriguing to me is if the overcut or the undercut will be the effective way of going about it. Last time out in Adelaide, it was the overcut that made the most sense. Looking at the pace drop-off so far, I have a feeling the undercut may be effective, but it's all about trying to find a pocket of fresh air, because it will be a melee once everyone comes down pit lane, or begins the sequence of coming down pit lane, because everyone's going to come in waves. Felicia Zappa doing a fantastic job, back in the 19.9 bracket for her lap times. Only driver to do so far. And again, it is 100%, it is management of the gap. Not just to the car behind, but to the car lying ahead. Swiss Autosport, no strangers to being here at Phoenix Raceway. They know how difficult it is to pass, but they also know that the dirty air is a great equalizer if the race leader gets involved with it. And this race has been green flagged the entire way so far. It's been a very rapid race to kick things off. A trio of rookies sitting 1, 2, 3. Sakurachi, to her credit, gives the Night City resident a lot of credit here. Obviously coming from the dirt racing background, used to racing the 410s around tracks like Eldora and Volusia. Having to get up to having a car that just kind of sticks. It just keeps sticking. Has been outstanding so far to kick off this season, sitting third and sitting comfortably third as well. Not really being challenged immediately by Maria Chavez, who's got a lot of experience under her belt in these cars, in these environments. Sakurachi sitting right there in the mix. It is 12.2 seconds between first and last on the road. Less than 8 seconds before Felicia Zappa starts encountering dirty air. And you want to talk about the nightmare fuel. When Felicia Zappa, because it's not just one car. It's not just an errant lone island of a car. It's a group. It's Fox, it's Walker, it's Damata, it's Milenkovic, it's Pulsatrix, and Ishii. Sakurachi's kind of being toyed with the pace. It keeps fluctuating between 2.2 and 1.7 seconds. A half-second gap kind of in and out for Sakurachi. I feel like Sakurachi's, I don't know if Sakurachi's trying to avoid the dirty air as well, because she's right now got clean air. This is the best her car's felt on the old tires all night. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Venäläinen got right to the gearbox of Felicia Zappa. This could be a lot of fun if these two are actually able to duke it out, because this is where Venäläinen was strongest in turns 1 and 2, or turns 3 and 4. Saw Venäläinen go for that pass there in turns 1 and 2. Again, it did not pan out. It did not work the way I think Venäläinen was hoping it would. But Venäläinen had not really had to worry about making an attempt like that work before until now. So now it's in her back pocket that is not the way to go. Because Venäläinen tried there in turns 1 and 2, she had to back off and give it another shot there in 3 and 4. I have a feeling there's a feeling this pit stop's coming around the corner. I'm feeling that Zappa has let out the anchor a little bit, trying to open a gap up to Venäläinen. These pit stops are about to come around here. Completing lap 71. Zappa's led every lap so far. And obviously, what a change for Felicia Zappa as well. struggled a lot in the World Series in the intensity of the competition there in the World Series. It is not an easy competition to be in, especially as a rookie. For an underfunded team, Swift Autosport was just not able to really and efficiently work within the World Series, and they have been struggling really to do so for a couple of years, and the pandemic in 2022 did not help them at all either. They released David Wessel, who went back to becoming a reserve driver for Phantom Motors. We'll see him in Mexico City for the World Series in place of Andrew Draco after Draco was injured in Melbourne. But they started focusing on developing from within. Seth Smith Jr., former stock car driver, who also spent some time in the Development Academy for Arrowhead Racing, developed alongside Julia Tacani and Santiago Saitia. Now in the Challenger Series, currently still in the top 5 as well. So obviously, the lessons he learned from the Arrowhead Academy worked out wonders. But there is a fight at the front of the field. Two drivers going toe-to-toe with Zappa and Venalainen. Sakurauchi is trying to close in on this gap. Right now sitting on an absolute island, but close to the leaders, Van to the battle for 4th. Chavez in 4th, Seth Smith in 5th. Here comes to the inside lane, Roberto Crown Jr. And Crown still there on the inside lane, but now it's the wrong side of the racetrack. Crown backed out of it. He didn't want to lose time and potentially be overwhelmed by Seto and by Blanco. Seto just inside the top 10 in 7th, Blanco 8th, Jake Carter in 9th. As you see, once again, the battle for the top 5 stays in the hands of car 5. And here comes what Crown was worried about, Arashi Seto. Inside 3 and 4, sends it through. Not sure if she can get clear. Won't be able to make anything happen there. I think the tires are kind of too worn at this point to make any particular magic happen. Gotta think smart here. Takarasi inside the top 10, still only just ahead of the Toyota, the Arrowhead racing car of Rachel Koivuniemen, and Takarasi's own teammate, the Canadian prodigy Kira Moore. Good old red gloves, sitting just inside the top 10. First oval appearance in the Challenger Series for Moore. Took part in one oval in the World Series, but it was a high-speed oval. That would have been Indianapolis last season. Got the rookie orientation out of the way for Moore before they go after the 500 again in May. See Takarasi challenging, that is Carter. It did not pan out. Koivuniemen, and you see there, Koivuniemen saw Takarasi was on the outside, or on the inside lane there. Koivuniemen immediately positioned her car to the outside of Koivuniemen, trying to do what she was obviously working on there, and I was trying to make a pass happen in 3 and 4. It didn't happen. Koivuniemen smart enough to back out of it and try to recover before they got back to 1 and 2. Moore still carrying a lot of speed though. But Koivuniemen will shut the door there in 3 and 4 and hold on to 11th. Isabel Espinosa stuck behind Moore, as is the 35 of Mia Vitsu. Again, the back and forth. getting more physical, getting more difficult as this race runs along. Again, we know pit stops not far away. As we straddle lap 87, about to start lap 88 here in Phoenix. You have to think, does the undercut work here? The pit window theoretically is open. Theoretically, it's open now and pretty comfortably open. If you're going with the easy two-stop race here, it'd be between lap 80. If you're looking at like an easy two-stop, it'd be lap 80, lap 160. That gets you all the way pretty well clear to lap 240. Obviously, we're a 225 lap race, so that's not an issue. But you could easily make that happen if you wanted to try to pull an undercut and then get momentum. Here comes Venäläinen on the leader. No dice there. But Venäläinen, a lot of good momentum out of 3 and 4 to set that up. I think the idea is that you want to have the freshest tires at the end of this race, because it could be bedlam. Sakurauchi has worked her way back into the 2-second window as the leaders have battled it out. Again, Zap has led every lap so far. All 92 laps have been led by the 50 car. Most dominant the 50 car has been in a very, very long time. The 87 looking strong as well. 2011 and 2012 IndyCar World Champion Zoe Sharp on the pit box for Riikka Venäläinen. Coaching her around this 1 mile facility, trying to give her the best opportunity imaginable to go for a race win here. And you see the gap getting closer and closer. Sakurauchi, you cannot ignore that 12 car, not far away. Looking outstanding right now. As we near the 100 lap point, we near the century mark. It's 3 cars head and shoulders above everybody else right now. Zappa, Venäläinen, and Sakurauchi. Non-stop here at Phoenix. 96 laps led so far for Felicia Zappa, the Italian. Racing strong here at Phoenix. Her sister Kaylee won this race back in 2018. Obviously, lots changed then. We talked about some of the changes there. Felicia Zappa once again turning on the jets. 20.8 compared to the 21.1 of Venäläinen and the 21.2 of Sakurauchi. See how they go this time around. See if the bleeding stops a little bit for Venäläinen, who was in the wake of Zappa for several laps in succession. Dropped down to a second behind. Reason that we know it was Zappa turning on the jets a little bit, because she opened up a 1.4 second gap, but she opened a gap up on everybody, not just on Venäläinen. And you see what that gap looks like now. We are now on lap 100. Coming to complete the century mark. 100 laps in the books. It's 100 laps led for Felicia Zappa. And then you see very back of the field is Sonia Walker. Mia Vitsut's dropped a couple spots. We'll see if we can figure out what's happened to the number 35, because there's Vitsut. Vitsut, to her credit, made it all the way up to 11th spot. Now down at 13th, so still net positive there. Kira Moore, they had a big loser there in the 67 machine. Now down behind Mizuno. And now you have to wonder if it's going to be a one-stop race. Is everyone going to be able to make it pretty easily here? Car in pit lane is Melantra. Pit lane, I believe, is open. And Venelainen's one of the drivers that came in. Undercut, now in effect in, wow, Zappa stays out. And here comes Switch Zappa down pit lane. And Sakurauchi will do the same thing. Gonna be an interesting pairing all the way through here. This will hand the lead over to Arashi Seto. And here comes immediately. And that will hand the lead right over to Crystal Cove Racing, who now takes the front of the field. Very interesting how they're going for the bonus point there for the lap lead. And it makes sense in the theory of it. Jake Carter with the lap lead now as he comes down pit lane. The number 4 of Karina Amara, who was one of the first ones to come down pit lane. Here comes teammates battling. This is Milenkovic and Kurachenko. And Milenkovic gets clear. So Milenkovic on the charge. So let's see who's where. So this, looking on your screen, that is Sakurauchi and Seth Smith Jr. Car still in pit lane. There's Felicia Zappa. And critically, there is Rika Venelainen, who is set to inherit the lead of this race. Venalainen leads the way. That is Takarasi, who dropped from the top 10 to 26th in that pit cycle. But Takarasi also stayed out a little bit longer. Venalainen leads the way, but ultimately this does mean that it is a two pit stop race pretty soundly. They had to get to lap 112. Jake Carter got the closest to that, but still fell short by several laps. Leads the way. We have 26 cars on lead lap. Takarasi, last car on lead lap. Kira Moore in 27th, the first car lap down. So Frostfire Racing overall, terrible pit stops there. Fox, Damata, Polstrix, Walker, and Hoshino also a lap down, but they were near the back of the field from the start. This is so interesting seeing how this all plays out here, because Venalainen is stuck in traffic. Ooh, almost contact there. That is Amara, who we saw lead pit lane. Takarasi trying to get past without getting past and going a lap down. And Venalainen's going to make pretty quick work of that window opportunity to put Takarasi a lap down. And here goes Kira Moore for good measure. Moore goes around. That's for 25th. Sorry, 26th, excuse me. Amara in 25th, now the last car on the lead lap. How Venalainen got such a good gap over Felicia Zappa needs to be studied. Because there's Zappa right there behind Sonia Walker. In between Walker and Hoshino. Zappa is now closer to Sakurauchi than to Venalainen by 3 times the amount. Seth Smith Jr. up to 4th, got around to the top 5. There's Koivanemi in 5th. So that pit sequence has flipped this race upside down, and what a move, what a play by Isabel Lontra and Phoenix Motorsports to absolutely jump from the mid-20s. Lontra started 24th, remember, it was only up to 22nd in that first stage. Now in the top 10, sitting 7th, behind Mia Vitsut, who also gained 7 spots. Crown down to 8th after being in 6th most of the start of this race. Mizuno in the top 10. And Asada Kito top 10 as well, ahead of Clark, Ochoa, Carter, Espinoza, and Flores. watching it all cycle through. Now, again, Launcher was one of the first ones to come in. Launcher and Venalainen were actually the first two in pit lane. So they will be the first ones to come in again in the last 50 laps of this race. And just kind of browsing and perusing where everyone's at in the field. Venalainen has, as frustrating as it is going to be for Venalainen, Venalainen's got the best gap imaginable, and that's lap traffic. But that lap traffic's trying to fight back. Here comes more. As Amara tries to take on, that is Ishii in the 44. To no avail there. And likewise, Moore failed to get around Venalainen. Look at this gap of cars here. That's another. Was that Zappa in pit lane? No, it was not. There was a panic there. That was Pulstrix in pit lane. You saw the charcoal gray and yellow, and you had to think that it was going to be Zappa for a moment, but there's Zappa. Zappa does not have the yellow side pods. So Felicia Zappa stuck in the dirty area. She's still closing on Rika Venalainen. As we look throughout the field here, 138 laps completed. It's Venalainen over Zappa by 3.4 seconds. It was 5.2. So Zappa is gaining, but the amount that she's going to be gaining is going to be closing in, and Zappa can really control the gap here. There's 7-8 cars between Venalainen and Zappa. And Zappa, when she gets to this group, is going to be slower. So Venalainen doing an outstanding job so far. And up to 26th, one lap down. Amara pulling away just a little bit. 25th, the last car on the lead lap. Again, and there's caution out. Wow, caution's out, and whoa, car stopped. Sonia Walker is why the caution comes out for the first time of the race on lap 142. And that changes a lot. So there's the pace truck, the Ford Raptor pace truck, and in immediately comes Venäläinen, who, because of the massive gap established, is a free pit stop over the rest of the field. Lapped cars stay out. They'll come down next time. So the rest of the lead lap cars, the rest of the 25 cars on the lap will all come down pit lane. And this, in theory, is the only pit stop they need to make to get to the end of this race. This gets very interesting. So a mechanical issue of some sort for Sonia Walker has her come to a stop near pit entry, or near pit exit, excuse me. And the caution comes out for the first time. You see Venäläinen's going to have a very easy time coming out of pit lane. No contest there for Venäläinen. It's all about who gets out of pit lane second. Oh, really tight fight there. Really good pit stops across the board that time. Seth Smith Jr. doing a great job as well. Isabel Lantra doing a good job holding on to that position. And this tightens everything right back up. And there is Sonia Walker. So whatever happened to the 36, still a very important fight there. This could be so interesting. That is Pulsatrix ahead, I believe, of Riikka Venäläinen. Now, Pulsatrix still 3 laps down. So we guess we have to explain this for the first time this season. The Challenger Series uses slightly different rules from the World Series for cautions and restarts. Cars that are not on the lead lap will start to the left-hand side of the leaders. The leaders will be on the right-hand side of the racetrack. That's the lead lap queue. All the cars a lap down will go to the inside lane. Now, this is going to be very helpful. The first corner that they tackle at speed will be turns 1 and 2. The outside lane has been the preferred lane to make passes happen and to defend all race long today. So this helps the leaders out significantly. However, that could not be the case when we head to a place like Texas or a place like Indianapolis. The World Series still runs single file for every restart. But this is a little bit different for the Challenger Series. Call this a little bit of experimentation. And you see some drivers getting directions as to where they need to go. Venäläinen almost followed. Because again, this is new for 2024 for the Challenger Series. You see the cars all a lap down. The cars that are a lap down on the inside lane are not in order. Obviously, Pulsatrix 3 laps down. Walker 3 laps down. But you look at Moore, Takarasi, Damata, Fox, and Hoshino, they're all 1 lap down. Importantly, no one's been off the pace by a significant degree, so everyone's going to be able to really fight it out here. Once we get back under racing, the Ford Raptor pace truck down on the pit lane as we roll through turns 3 and 4. The first restart on an oval in the hands of Riikka Venäläinen is back underway. Racing resumes here at Phoenix on lap 148. And you see exactly what that means for the race leaders. Being able to get clear. And you see who couldn't do that. Was that Sakurachi that was in the wall? It was. Sakurachi and Takarasi and more. Wow. That's the 12 car in the wall. Let's look at this restart one more time. Moore tried to go 3 wide with Walker. It did not pay off. And there's, oh my goodness, Kira Moore into the fence. And right above the fence as well. And that just that's Takarasi misjudging it and just turning her teammate up. Trying to slot into the inside lane, nothing there. Wow. So Venlainen rolled onto the race lead. There was questions over if Zappa had passed Venlainen. Answer to that question was no. So cars out of this race, Sakurauchi and Kira Moore. .75 laps to go now. We'll have less than that soon. Takarasi also out of this race now officially. They try to keep that car going, but they've elected not to continue, so that's both the Frostfire cars out of this race. So back-to-back yellows. Another car. Oh no, is that a Crystal Cove car? In trouble. Oh, it is. Which Crystal Cove car is falling out of this race? That looks like it is the 55 of Jake Carter. We had one engine failure last time out in Adelaide. That was that of Katerina Milenkovic. Is this another engine failure for Jake Carter? As we get ready to go back racing, we'll give you an update as soon as we know on what's caused the failure for the 55 Carter, who was just outside the top 10 in 11th. Had a really good race shaping up there for the Crystal Cove driver. Now it's all going to be on the shoulders of Dale Blanca, who fell down to 18th. And they are reporting it is an engine issue for Jake Carter that is going to take that 55 car out of the race. So 4 cars out of the race in very quick succession. At the front, still familiar faces: Venlainen, Zappa, Koivuniemen, Smith, Lontra top 5, Vitsut, Crown, Kito, Mizuno, and Seto. That's your top 10. Clark 11th, Ochoa 12th, Espinoza 13th, 14th Kurachenko, Flores 15th. As they approach the restart zone and see the green flag for the 3rd time tonight, we're back underway in Phoenix. Another chance to go at it. Outside lane, again, where the people want to be. Amity Pulsatrix got clear, but again does not have the race leader's pace, and it gets past quickly. She'll drop back to being 3 laps down. And you see the trouble that Seth Smith's in, because there is the 61 of Koivuniemen, who is trying to stay clear for 3rd. There's also the 36, Sonia Walker. Walker on the inside lane, Seth Smith to the outside lane. And I think Walker being a little bit more ambivalent as to where she's at in her race so far, just kind of playing scavenger, playing vulture at this point. Lontra in the middle of it all now as well, as they're about to go 3 wide with Seth Smith Jr., Fox, and Polstrix. Nobody on the same lap as each other in that 3 wide situation. Fox had to back out of it on the inside lane, far inside. Smith trying to find a way around, and cautions out again for the 3rd time. Huge crash. That is Chavez, that is Ochoa. Kurachenko also involved, so the truck's out once again. And they're trying to avoid all the melee. Is that the 66 of Megalos? Someone made huge contact with Ochoa. Caution out for the 3rd time. Polstrix, I believe, was the one that made severe contact. Let's go back to how this contact started. This is going to be Chavez. This is 2 of the 3 of the Goodyear cars. The Goodyear cars, the 27, the 29, and then the 40 of Kurachenko. Ooh, huge hit there. Looks like Kurachenko turned down on Chavez and collected everybody. Caution's out. Yellow light is on. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. Polstrix just clobber to 27 of Ochoa. But that's going to be several cars out of this race. Kurachenko's about to be done. Seth Smith Jr. in pit lane now, but that is unrelated. We saw him dive towards pit lane. We believe that that is a mechanical issue for Seth Smith Jr. We can confirm Ochoa out of the race. So she got out of the car under her own power. Obviously, Kurachenko set to be out of the race as well. Polstrix set to be out of the race as well. I believe Maria D'Amata will also stand to be out of this race. He's there. You saw they're trying to do work to repair Chavez's car. That seems like it is pretty well a done deal at this stance in time. She's currently serving a black and orange flag, which means that she is not permitted to return to the racetrack until after that repair work has been done. Seth Smith Jr. out of the race because of a gearbox failure. So the gearbox has let go on the 5 car. Not a lot of shifting goes on in these cars except for on restarts, but if you lose 6th gear, which is what a lot of these cars sit in at tracks like this, you sort of lose everything else along the way. So Seth Smith's race, down in the dust. So Maria Chavez, and to Chavez's credit, there's Amara. Chavez not going to give it up under any circumstance. But just like that, we are down a few cars with less than 65 laps remaining. Only 64 to go when we get back to racing here in Phoenix after 3 cautions. In the first half of the race, first 140 laps, caution-free. We've had 3 in 20 laps. Thinning of the herd happening here in Phoenix. Survival of the fastest underway. As they roll through the restart zone. Chavez still on pit lane there. Green flag in the air. Away we go. Walker led the inside lane for the lap down cars. Outside, it is still Venäläinen, Zappa, Koivunieemi. And they all got clear of Fox pretty easily. Now they just got to get around Sonia Walker, who has now gotten one of her 3 laps back. Venäläinen trying to lead the charge ahead of the Cat Devil Racing driver. Use the inside lane, trying to make it stick. Not quite, but stays ahead of Zappa. Zappa peeks to the inside, nothing there. Fox battling her teammate. Fox only 1 lap down, so it is a little bit more imperative if Fox can get back to the front. But Koivunieemi sitting on the podium places right now with a chance for more. Also in this group right there, there's the 8 of Maria da Mata, also a lap down, battling directly with Keisha Fox. Just behind them is the 09 of Sori Hoshino. Hoshino also a lap down. And then you see Roberta Crown Jr. and Isabel Lantra. They are 4th and 5th. They are on lead lap. As the laps wind down, the fastest lap now belongs to Sora Hoshino. A 19.300, 194.926 miles an hour, the average lap speed there for Hoshino. And Maria Chavez in vain out of this race. They tried repairing the car, but to no avail. We are down to 23 runners, 19 on the lead lap. It is Venäläinen leading the way still. Zappa's led 107 laps in this race. Venäläinen has led 57. They're the only leaders of this race so far. We've had 3 cautions for 14 laps. As we approach lap 170, here we go. Zappa led the first 107 laps uncontested. Now Venäläinen leads the charge. Felicia Zappa trying to make some inroads happen here. And what a change it's done, not having Sakurauchi in the mix as well. Koivunieemi has stepped back just a little bit, about a second off the leader at the moment now. Tappa losing Tetra a little bit. I think Venelainen using Walker a little bit for a draft there. As things thin out a little bit more now. A little bit for the back battle here between Keto and Vitsu. And then I see also in that mix there is Milenkovic, who is now somehow from 31st to 9th is the 30 of Milenkovic. Now battling there with Vitsu and looking really strong. Almost got clear there before turn 1. Fortunately, fresh tires means that the outside lane 1 and 2 is going to be a little more helpful. And there's Jace Clark. Keep an eye on this battle here just for the fringe of the top 10. This is 8th, 9th, and 10th. Here goes Clark. Inside of Vitsu. Wrong part of the racetrack to do that. Here comes Milenkovic. Back around for 9th. So Milenkovic back up to 9th ahead of Clark. Sorry, back down to 10th behind Clark. Ahead of Arashi Seto in 11th. Luisa Flores in 12th. Isabel Espinosa still stuck outside the top 10 in 13th ahead of Valerie Feng. There you see that is the 66. That is Aspasia Megalos ahead of Yuya Ishii. Then you have Karina Amara and Del Blanco. Car in pit lane for a significant amount of time is Rex Riley. Sonia Walker leading the way on the lead, well, only 2 laps down now, as Rex Riley is now out of this race with an engine failure. That is 2 cars now with a 10-place grid penalty for the next race in the campaign, and that is a death knell. Certainly not an ideal situation as they head to Night City, the next race on the calendar. Certainly can't say that's an ideal situation, going from short oval to shorter oval. double dip in California. Next races, obviously Night City, Arasaka Arena. And then a race at Autoclub Speedway in Fontana. That's up next with the Challenger Series of the next couple races. Next week, you'll be able to see the AT&T Champ Car World Series in Mexico City at the Aerodromo Magdalena Mixioca. Right there in the heart of Mexico's capital. Once again, look at the inside. Felicia Zappa trying to get to the race lead once again. 85 laps led for Venäläinen so far to Zappa's 107. Zappa led almost a half of this race already. Venäläinen still defending well from Zappa, using the draft from Walker as a defense mechanism, and it's working, I think, quite nicely for the Finnish driver. 2 Finns on the podium right now as things stand. Venäläinen leading, Koivunieemi in 3rd. Trouble that is for one of the Arrowhead cars. Oh, this could be another engine let go for Keisha Fox. We'll learn more in just a moment. And indeed, it's an engine failure for Keisha Fox. 10th place grid penalty for Fox. Roberto Crown Jr. sitting right now in the 4th spot. Stuck behind lap traffic, but equally distanced from 5th place, Isabel Lantra, who looks to try to hold on to the national championship lead. So 3 engine failures. 1 for Ford, 1 for Chevrolet, and 1 for Toyota. Intriguingly, no engine failures so far for Honda. Don't think we were expecting that. Look to the inside for Milinkovic on Clark. Clark defends well. That is for the 9th position. Meanwhile, Flores has moved ahead of Arashi Seto. Seto has dropped the spot and now sits just ahead of Isabel Espinosa. Lantra still stuck in the 5th spot and behind lap traffic. That is actually Crown just ahead of the 09. 09 of Sora Hoshino, who was trying to make some inroads there on the 10. And now here comes Lantra to try to get clear so she can attack the 10 on her own. Outside lane still. This should be effective in turns 1 and 2. And it will be. And it will be a 2 for 1 as there goes Mia Ritsu, taking advantage of the opportunity. So that was an absolute win-win. Quito couldn't follow through. Passing right now out of premium, Riikka Venäläinen leading 97 laps so far in this race. Valerie Fang likewise has found a way around Isabel Espinosa. Last car running on the lead lap, Dale Blanco in the 18th position. Karina Amara in 17th ahead of, or right behind, Yuya Ishii. Then there's Aspasia Megalos, and then you see Isabella Espinosa there behind Valerie Fang. Been aligning clear by over a second to Felicia Zappa. Lantra has to keep an eye and forward and behind, trying to chase down Roberto Crown, while also defending the top 5 from a hard-charging Mia Vitsut, looking for a top 5, as is Asada Kito, who is still dealing with Sora Hoshino. What a drive so far. Lantra driving through, holding on to 5th place at the moment, but Vitsut is right there on the gearbox. One-on-one. Laps tick down. 13 laps to go. The retirement's stacking up. 21 cars still running. Venalainen led 103 laps so far. Zappa led 107. Laps led also belong to Arashi Seto and Jake Carter. Seto outside the top 10 right now in 12th. Carter out of the race right now, classified 29th. And again, Roberto Crown Jr. just kind of on an island, stuck away, sort of like a castaway from the rest of the group. Laps to go, make that 9 to go now. And the laps continue to tick away, and Felicia Zappa, having dominated so much of the first half of this race, outdone by a pit stop sequence under green, and just could never make it back. Keep an eye on the 61 there. That is Rachel Clevenamy looking for her first podium in years. A chance to make it a reality. Around the corner. Through 1 and 2 now once again as the laps continue to wind down. With this lap, Venalainen will take over as the driver with the most laps led, and the extra bonus points to come with it. And there's right now nothing that Felicia Zappa can do. They all roll down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. There's Asada Kito right now sitting in the 8th spot. Here is this whirlwind outside the top 10. Because there is the battle for the 10th spot between Floros and Milenkovic. Floros can't find a way around. There's Arashi Seto in 12th. Outside lane right now belongs to Megalos, who has been swapping positions with Fang and with Espinosa. Final 5 laps of this race. Fang got around Megalos once again. Now up to 13th. But the focus begins to focus very intently on the front of the field. Riikka Venäläinen. Front and center, 3 laps to go. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. For the Finnish driver, Venäläinen. Out of 1 and 2 for the final time down the back straightaway. What a legacy to maintain. Venäläinen wins at Phoenix. She now shares the race winner's mantle with her older sister, who won several races in her Champ Car career. Venäläinen now has her first, ahead of Felicia Zappa and Rachel Koivuniemen, who rounds out the podium here in Phoenix. Roberta Crown Jr. in 4th. Isabel Lantra holds on for the top 5. But Riikka Venäläinen, her first oval race, her first oval win. With Zoe Sharp, 2-time champion on the sands, guiding her through it. Venäläinen leads the way home here at Phoenix. We went over the top 5. Venäläinen, Zappa, Koivuniemen, Crown, and Lantra. Mia Vitsut in 6th. Yumina Mizuno holds on to 7th ahead of Asada Kito. Jace Clark holds on the 9th ahead of Katarina Milinkovic. Milinkovic holds on to the top 10 ahead of Luisa Flores, Arashi Seto, Valerie Fang, Aspasia Megalos. Karina Amara rounds out the top 15 ahead of Isabel Espinoza. Yuya Ishii and Dale Blanco, they round out those on the lead lap. That is 17th and 18th for them. Maria D'Amata, the best of those, off the lead lap in 19th. Sora Hoshino in 20th. Sonia Walker, 2 laps down in 21st. After starting this race down near the back of the field in the 30th position. Not a bad effort to gain for Sonia Walker. A lot of drivers out of this race. Engine failures for Keisha Fox and Rex Riley. They've got 10-place credit penalties waiting for them next time out in Night City in 2 weeks. Maria Chavez out with a retirement there after being involved in that accident around the just after the halfway point. Seth Smith Jr. also out of the race with a mechanical failure. Katrina Ochoa and Natalia Kurachenko crashing out. Emily Polsatrix out as well with an accident. Jake Carter, the 3rd engine failure of the race. He also has a 10-place grid penalty. Then you have Karina Sakurauchi, Nero Takarasi, and Kira Moore, those involved in the first caution tonight on lap 140, out of the race here tonight. A good recovery drive for Isabel Lantra from 24th to 5th helps her hold on to her fight for the IndyCar national title. For the Challenger Series, we'll be back in 2 weeks in Night City for the Nikola 225. Next week, it's the Champ Car World Series, their turn to return to the racetrack after 3 races in Australia. Race 4 for them takes place in the heart of Mexico City at the Aerodrome Magdalena Mixhuca. 26 cars get to do battle there. We can't wait to be back in Mexico. On behalf of everyone here for ABN Studios, for ABN Sports 1, Firestone, and the Champ Car Challenger Series, we appreciate you tuning in. This is from Phoenix. We'll see you next week in Mexico City. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, have fun in the week ahead. We'll see you at the track once again in 7 days' time. So long, everybody.